We do have a severe threat out there later on this afternoon as storms will start to arrive as we go throughout the afternoon hours. It's not widespread. It's an isolated shot, but it's still there. I'm going to go over the timing on this coming up.
Coming up, the Bluegrass area chapter of the American Red Cross has volunteers en route to Louisiana to help flood victims.
University of Kentucky police issued a crime bulletin here on campus after they say more than a dozen offices inside the College of Nursing building were broken into.
This is WKYT News at noon.
Good afternoon and welcome to WKYT News. Bill Bryant and Barbara Bailey reporting. Here's what's happening at noon. Flooding in Louisiana has sparked the biggest disaster response in the United States since Hurricane Sandy, and it's blamed for at least 8 deaths so far.
More than 11,000 people are homeless. The water is slowly receding in Baton Rouge, and people may soon get to see what's left of their property. Omar Villafranca has our top story at noon.
We're not going to give up. We're going to stay to the bloody end. And if it knocks us down, we're going to get back up. We're going to rebuild.
Overnight, voluntary evacuations were underway in Ascension Parish as floodwaters from the overflowing Amite River poured into the community. On Monday, National Guard helicopters pulled more people to safety from the unprecedented flooding hitting southeastern Louisiana. We went along as they took us on a search and rescue mission into the flood zone.
We're now flying over Denham Springs, Louisiana. As you can see, this area is covered in water right now.
Roughly 90% of the homes in Denham Springs have flood damage. The city's main highway is washed out. Christina Broad and her boyfriend Brooks Wilson returned to their flooded home for the first time Monday.
Oh my God, this is my entire life that I worked my entire life for, just washed away.
It's like the end of your life, end of your world, you know, having to start over like that.
More than 11,000 people have been forced into shelters.
I never thought I'd see this day.
I know, man.
20,000 have been rescued since Friday, in large part due to the help of volunteers. Craig Pouchot's home is a loss, but he's thankful for what he still has.
We're homeless today, but we're hopeful. We're going to rebuild. We're going to get back.
Omar Villafranca, CBS News, Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
All the water is flowing south of Baton Rouge, so there are still flooding concerns. Governor Edwards will discuss the recovery process with federal officials later today.
A group of volunteers from Kentucky is on the road to Louisiana to help out this midday. The group is part of the Bluegrass chapter of the American Red Cross. They left this morning. WKYT's Mike Byer explains how they are hoping to help.
I'm at the Bluegrass area chapter of the American Red Cross. Volunteers are currently making the 800-mile trip to Louisiana to help flood victims get back on their feet.
We just respond when called upon, and it's really amazing to watch the volunteer spirit. We can't function properly without volunteers like the two guys, you know, that are going with us from Lexington today.
Volunteers like Doyle Rambo took off from the Lexington headquarters shortly after 9 this morning. They're driving the emergency response vehicle. The plan is to arrive in Baton Rouge tomorrow morning. The primary mission for these volunteers is to feed the flood victims. More than 20,000 of them have been rescued since the flooding began Friday. Of that, over 11,000 have been forced from their homes into emergency shelters.
We can do our little part to give them some peace and give them some food and let them know that somebody is watching after them and somebody cares for them.
Now, volunteers will be helping out in Louisiana for the next 2 weeks. The American Red Cross here in Lexington says more than likely they'll be sending down a second wave of volunteers in the upcoming days. In Lexington, Mike Byer, WKYT.
Mike, we thank you very much. This, of course, is a major effort, and the Red Cross says if you would like to help, you can make monetary donations or sign up to be a volunteer. We have that information for you on WKYT.com.
We're tracking another day of hit-and-miss storms across the Bluegrass. Any one of them could put down a good amount of rain. WKYT meteorologist Micah Harris is in our First Alert Weather Center now with an early look at the forecast. Micah.
Several showers already going up across the region, popping up just in the last 30 minutes and racing northeast. One just north of Richmond, near the Boonesboro area, one north of Crab Orchard. And then you're looking back toward Perryville, just north of Campbellsville, some south of Greensburg and Greene County. So we do have some just kind kind of scattered out and about. And we'll be looking at that as we travel throughout the rest of your afternoon. So there's a pretty good chance that some of us will see rain, especially central, north, and western zones. Southeast, not as good of a chance today, but you'll still have that opportunity. I give it more like 40% for the southeast as opposed to 60% everywhere else. So storms will be around mid-80s, and it's more about the heavier downpours than anything else. Could we be looking at any flash flooding concerns in the next 48 hours? That's what we're going to focus in on as this cold front swings on through. I'll show you what you can expect and how much coming up.
Okay, see you shortly. Thank you.
Well, it's a sign of just how bad the drug epidemic is. Yesterday in Huntington, West Virginia, near the Kentucky line, emergency workers say they responded to 26 overdoses in 4 hours.
Incredible. First responders say 5 people overdosed in the same house. And we're told that most people who recovered admitted to using heroin. Now investigators are trying to figure out why this batch of heroin was so dangerous and where it came from. Well, the drug problem is also well documented in eastern Kentucky, and today the U.S. Attorney in Lexington talked about efforts to battle the widespread supply of heroin by going after the dealers. WKYT's Sean Moody explains what the U.S. Attorney says the new approach is going to be doing.
The people who talked today all credited a federal law that allows for this kind of prosecution. Without that, they said there may not have been any justice. In just the past few days, several people have pleaded guilty here in federal court to distributing drugs throughout Kentucky. U.S. Attorney Kerry Harvey said about a year and a half ago, his office launched the Overdose Prosecution Initiative. They thought relying on federal law to prosecute drug traffickers might make a difference. Harvey says it did. Just yesterday, he said 3 people pleaded guilty in federal court to supplying fentanyl to people across central Kentucky. Harvey says fentanyl has been devastating because people often think they're just buying heroin, but they're actually getting heroin laced with fentanyl or pure fentanyl, which he said is 100 times more powerful than morphine. In one case, Harvey said a Detroit man pleaded guilty to distributing drugs in Madison County. He said this was an important step in disrupting the Detroit drug pipeline.
A lot of folks have moved here from Detroit, just like these gentlemen, for only one reason, and that's to establish heroin distribution organizations in our communities because they have found business to be very good here.
Harvey discussed 3 big cases for them this morning. He said they have about a dozen more in the pipeline. In Lexington, Sean Moody, WKYT.
Sean, thank you. And Harvey says he hopes the stiff penalties, a minimum of 20 years in a federal prison, will be a deterrent to other drug dealers.
Police in Knox County say a call for help from 2 children led to their mother being arrested. Police say the 10 and 11-year-olds called police to say they'd been left alone at home by their mother for 9 hours. Police went to the home and stayed with the children and say their mother showed up an hour later under the influence. Michelle Brown is facing several charges, including endangering the welfare of a minor. A man accused of stealing a gun from a Lexington store was arrested last night in Madison County. Back in June, Lexington police say David Hunt Jr. stole a gun from Cabela's. State police caught up with him last night in Berea. He's now in jail in Lexington, charged with theft.
In Richmond, talks have just wrapped up on whether to give Richmond City police officers a pay raise. Supporters say the raise is all about keeping officers on the force. Richmond Mayor Jim Barnes says he wants to be sure a pay increase makes financial sense for the city. We're going to have a full report from Richmond coming up on WKYT News at 12:30. The University of Kentucky has issued a crime alert after a rash of thefts on campus.
It's what the thieves are stealing that stands out. And UK police say this type of crime is happening on campuses around the state. WKYT's Hillary Thornton has this crime tracker report.
University of Kentucky police say it is likely a well-organized group that is responsible for hitting more than a dozen offices here inside the College of Nursing building. Police Chief Joe Monroe says the break-ins happened this past weekend, a time when he says there were not any classes going on inside of the building. He says the thieves pried open the locked doors to around 18 offices, stealing textbooks from inside. Now, this is not the first case of textbook thefts this summer on campus. Back in June and July, several others were reported at different buildings on campus. He says the thefts could likely be related and that investigators are also looking into similar cases at other universities, including Eastern Kentucky and Richmond. University police putting out that crime bulletin, making sure folks on campus are aware, reminding them to keep valuables in safe, secure places, including textbooks.
Textbooks are a valuable commodity. I'm sure there's a market out there for that kind of thing, but no, obviously textbooks are quite valuable, can be expensive, and so those would be the kinds of valuables along with other things that you would think about that ought to be locked down before you leave for the night.
And police encourage folks here on campus to report anything that might be suspicious immediately. They also say it is important to make sure all doors and windows are locked while away. In Lexington, Hillary Thornton, WKYT.
Now, staying on campus, a city committee will be meeting this afternoon to discuss whether to permanently close a stretch of Rose Street between Columbia and Huglet. It's been closed for the past few months while the new academic science building is being built. UK wants to make that section of Rose Street a pedestrian walkway. UK says if the proposal goes through, they hope to have the walkway ready by next fall. Keep it here on WKYT News. Some Republicans in Congress are going after Hillary Clinton again over the email scandal, while both candidates are making plans for moving into the White House.
And big changes on the Las Vegas Strip happened in a truly Las Vegas kind of way. Welcome back. Some Republicans in Congress say Hillary Clinton lied during her 11 hours of testimony before the House Select Committee on Benghazi, and the lawmakers want a federal prosecutor to look into the matter.
Republicans in Congress have sent a letter to the U.S. Attorney in the District of Columbia saying there may be evidence Clinton perjured herself in congressional testimony. Clinton insists she was truthful to both the FBI and to Congress. Meanwhile, she has tapped former Interior Secretary Ken Salazar to lead her White House transition team should she win the election in November. New Jersey Governor Chris Christie is serving in that role for Donald Trump. Authorities are accusing a California man of starting a wildfire in Lake County that has caused more than $10 million in damage and destroyed more than 175 homes. Damon Pashlik has been arrested on 17 counts of arson. Authorities suspect he has started numerous fires in the area over the last year.
The last tower of the iconic Riviera Hotel and Casino has been reduced to a pile of rubble on the Las Vegas Strip. This morning's implosion of the Monte Carlo wing came 2 months after the taller Monaco Tower was leveled the same way. The Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority now owns the property. It closed last May after 60 years of hosting headliners from Liberace to Dean Martin.
A lot of memories there, certainly, for a lot of folks.
And it did go down with a lot of drama there.
Implosions are always interesting, aren't they? Well, Attorney General Andy Beshear announces a multi-million-dollar lawsuit against Johnson & Johnson.
How that suit impacts thousands of Kentucky women. Still to come on Central Kentucky's #1 midday news.
Scatter showers already popping up outside. That's out ahead of the widespread rain that we're going to be tracking as we go throughout tomorrow, too. I'll have that coming up next.
Now, your zone-by-zone forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris.
Already seeing those scattered showers pop up outside and roll across the central, south, and northern zones. So that's where we're seeing it now. Eastern zones, you're going to be next in line here in the next few hours, but you're seeing that. Zoom into the bluegrass region. You can see some heavy downpours. Nothing impressive at this very moment. And these are brief heavy downpours. These will last 2-3 minutes and they move on by. And then you know what? We may get another one right after that. So that's just the way this is going to be set up at this moment. Winchester just south of downtown Winchester getting the brunt of it. Also one about to roll through Berea. That's a pretty heavy downpour there. Lasts about 5-10 minutes. One in southern portions of Woodford County, none such area. And then you go off into Mercer County and then work your way northbound into Shelby and Spencer counties. That's where we're seeing some. Some popping up down toward the 68 corridor just south of Campbellsville. That'll be rolling off into Casey County here very shortly, next 30-45 minutes. And then some heading off into Williamsburg next in line, coming over the Jellicoe Mountain here very shortly. So heads up for that if you're traveling 75 and 25 eastbound and westbound. You're going to be rolling into that. And this this is picking up on this very well, which gives me pretty good confidence that we're going to be seeing some of these showers and thunderstorms continue to push eastbound. Here's 5 p.m. The main bulk of the action over toward east and southeastern Kentucky at this moment. Still left with a few showers back toward the west. There's not a great chance of severe weather. Honestly, I just don't see a good chance whatsoever. Could you get a stray cell? There's a possibility. Most of this is just going to be beneficial rain to the yards. That's it. That's what most of this is going to be today. So there really isn't a major concern today. So there is a marginal risk from the Storm Prediction Center out of Norman, Oklahoma, and that's for everybody watching today. If you're watching, you are under that marginal risk. Marginal risk means the lightest chance. Very little chance of seeing severe weather. Nonetheless, it's there. But know this, strong winds, heavy downpours, lightning, no doubt about it, most of us will actually see that today. So we'll take you through hour by hour, and we'll get you into your afternoon there on Wednesday, too. Still looking at that chance of rain in the forecast, and that's just the way it's going to be the next couple of days. There's your hour by hour, and let's check out your 7-day. Today and tomorrow, your better opportunities of rain. Thursday and Friday look to taper off just a bit. Still, the chance of rain is there. But those temperatures continue to drop, guys. Upper 70s, lower 80s as we head toward your weekend and off into early next week. It's music to people's ears as a lot of us are trying to get away from that humidity. It's not so much the hot air, it's just humid. It's extremely humid, so trying to get away from that, it's good news.
We noticed that.
Yeah.
It is humid. We noticed.
I'm telling you, the best months are to come here with the fall.
Yes, they are.
Really
Love fall
nice.
season.
Yeah, all right. And we hope you'll stay here on WKYT, a day of near misses for the Americans at the Rio Olympics.
And the Wildcat defense readjusting its sights. Dave Baker has sports next.
Checking stocks as we head to break this afternoon. The major market indicators are down at midday.
And have you ever heard that phrase, don't write a check with your mouth that some other part of your body can't cash? Well, throughout the first 10 days of UK's fall camp, the Kentucky defense has been openly vocal about how good they are. But during Saturday's scrimmage, not so much. So much so the UK defense has now reassessed its talking strategy.
They had a great game Saturday, and they really closed our mouths. We did all the talking, and then Saturday came, and the offense just came out there and whipped our butt. And I mean, that's an eye-opener because we can play some small team and be talking all that trash, and then they come out here and shock us. So I mean, that's just a lesson learned for the whole defense that maybe we need to be quiet and let our play do the talking.
And that'll be one of the topics that Dick Gabriel will surely be talking about tonight on the Big Blue Insider. That's at 6 on 630 WLAP. Much more coming your way a bit later, guys. But for now, that's a look at sports on your Tuesday.
It is. And Buzz, we appreciate it very much. Thank you.
And there's more to come in our next half hour of WKYT News at noon.
Why some say it was a frustrating meeting today in Richmond, where a group is calling for pay raises for police officers. And they're doing more than just playing in the sand. A look at some one-of-a-kind artwork being sculpted at the Kentucky Horse Park.